get ready with me and talk all about my weird flatshare experience that happened to me a couple of years ago whilst I was in London. I mean, on reflection, it probably wasn't very wise moving in with a married couple. Anyway, I got this flatshare 3-spare room and I was kind of struggling to find the perfect place. You're never going to find the perfect place on spare room, so I just went with this couple. They seemed like nice. It was in a really good area for when I first moved to London. Luckily for me, they would take me on for 3 months, which is exactly what I needed because I had an internship. So it was also made very clear that it was their house. They had pictures of themselves all over the living room. It was like not a situation where I'd go in the living room. So I just was literally confined to my small little room. The kitchen was absolutely tiny. Like there was just stuff everywhere. It was not a flat share situation. It was very much someone's house and someone was moving into it, if that makes sense. Which for starters was pretty annoying, to be honest, because we all know the prices of flat shares around London. And then like the arguing started and oh my god, our bedrooms were next door to each other. Again, on reflection, why did they do that? It's weird because there's another room also in the flat. So it's a 3-bedroom. And our rooms were literally next to each other. They were shouting, like actually screaming and shouting at each other, having shouting matches. And this was sometimes going on until 11 o'clock at night. And I had work the next day. I was new in London, like in the office. I was tired and it was just horrible. But half the time I couldn't even work out what they were arguing about. It was bizarre. I just have like friends over all the time on work evenings and just be super loud, like doors slamming, leaving the landing light on, which is just, and I had like a top window over my door, so the landing light would just come streaming in.
Get ready with me whilst we talk about why I hate my housemate. This is completely warranted. And I don't know how I should get my revenge. We have to move out of our house. I live in London. And as you can imagine, the London, or you might know, the London market for rent has been ridiculous. A landlord has asked for an extra £1,000 from previous years. Highly likely that we're going to move and we're probably going to have to downsize. Downsize even something that we say in the UK, or is that something I picked up from America? We are getting rid of a lot of our stuff. To help with this, we've amassed a cupboard. I basically knew that one of my housemates, Nick, knew that he was going to have an issue clearing out all his stuff and we were going to have to carry all this rubbish to the next house. So I book a charity to come pick up like a bunch of stuff. Literally, it's called I Collect. It's so good. They pick up old clothes, but loads of old household stuff that they would sell in a charity shop. Tell my housemate that this is going to come on Friday. And I told him that on Monday, and I said, all you need to do is clear out that cupboard, find a few things that you can give to the charity, like all your old stuff. I know there's loads in there. Thursday night comes, I know that he hasn't sorted his stuff out. So I'm like, yo, they're coming tomorrow. Make sure you sort your stuff out. I'm not going to be there. They've come on the Friday morning. As I said, I wasn't there. So I come back on Friday afternoon. And what do I find? I find that nothing from the cupboard is gone, but a whole bag of my clothes is. Bag of my clothes, which literally had piled up new clothes on top of it, has been given to the charity.
Never ever live with a living landlord. Well, except maybe you don't have friends or you just don't have a social life, because those people will torment your life. And what I mean by that is they will constantly be coming to your room to check, just to see, oh, did you put off the lights? Did you do this? Did you do that? You could be playing music or you could be talking to your friends and they literally come and knock on the door to say, oh, you're making so much noise, can you reduce it? They might say it very nicely, but just the fact that you don't even have the entire house to yourself, they're constantly troubling you and checking up on you. That doesn't sit well with me at all. So avoid it as much as you can. Never, when I mean never ever live with a living landlord. They will torment you. That one is for sure. I mean, there are 1 or 2 nice living landlords, but from my experience and everybody I know, they will definitely find a way to keep constantly checking up on you and even your privacy. You don't even have any privacy.
Things I am definitely not missing about house sharing. Let's go. Toilet rolls all over the bathroom, because why would anyone bother to actually bin it, right? Constant noise and sleeping with earplugs, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to fall asleep, like ever. Dirty dishes staying in the sink for over a week and nobody even putting away the clean ones either. Yeah. Water with question mark everywhere, all over bathroom, all the time. Not replacing cleaning products when we run out of them. I can finally post it since I don't live there anymore, but people, you're not children anymore.
Okay, so if you're in your first, second or third year and are looking to move out into a new accommodation, I have the best tip for you. It is so important that when you're going to view your next accommodation that you make sure the occupant is there. God knows this would have saved my life. You can ask them a ton of questions. Don't mind the fact that the lettings agent is there. They will actually tell you what life is like living in that flat. I'm in my third year and I've been living a nightmare. God knows if my person was in that day, I would have never chosen this accommodation. For the price I'm paying and what I'm getting is diabolical. When I tell you, the water does not work. They turn it on and off when they please. If they're not turning it on and off, it doesn't want to run by itself. Or if it does, it's cold. The internet goes off. Great for my third year assignments. The ceiling is falling apart. My radiator melted and fell off the wall. The toilets don't flush. My intercom has not been working for the past 7 months and I email these people all the time and they don't care. So for every viewing now, I tell the person, do not come here. And will continue to do so.
This is about my boyfriend's ex-housemate. Now, aside from this guy just being a really horrible and inconsiderate guy in general, he was also filthy. Now, don't get me wrong, he'd do all the acceptable sort of like messy, dirty things that housemates might do, like, you know, leaving washing up for days, leaving food out all the time, leaving his underwear all over the bathroom, you know, all that sort of shit. But whenever he would shave in the shared bathroom, he would always leave this. I'm sorry, but what? And this wasn't like just a one-off thing. It was every single time he shaved and he would never wash his dirty little hairs away. Never. Unfortunately, I can only find one photo of this on my phone, but this was a more common occurrence. He had really long hair and whenever he would have a bath, he would go to the effort of fishing his hair out of the plug hole and doing this. Just leaving it on the side, you know, just a little gift for whoever came in next.
I just finished work. Basically, time to do notes for work. This flatmate did not like me. We didn't get on. We kind of bickered a bit. She was not messy, but she was very rude. She didn't talk to us, and she wouldn't ever clean the kitchen after she'd cooked, and she wouldn't take the bins out. So we ended up arguing about stuff like that. And then once she left like mouldy bowls stacked out next to the sink for like a few weeks. But she accused me of stealing her stuff, which I didn't. But her spoon was in my cutlery drawer for some reason, so she kicked off and called me a thieving rat. And we didn't get on at all.
Man said maggots, ants, and fly infestation. Guy, this year we are going to do serious fasting and prayers that we get good flatmates. Because people might say it's not that deep, but it is deep. Because why am I not ordering food instead of using the kitchen? Why am I not using my money's worth? The money that I'm using to spend to not be able to use the kitchen. Now it is time. We're actually going to pray from now. I want everybody to get good flatmates because I will not even allow my bad enemy, my worst enemy, to even get accommodation where people don't know how to clean.
I once had a housemate that was so precious about his hair that he used to collect it in like a big shoebox. So anytime it fell out of his head, he'd be like collecting it and putting it in. He showed me it one day. I was like, that is mental. But the kind of height of it was when I saw him in the living room playing with his hair, pull a bit out and then stuff it in his sock. He wanted to create a set, like a mini model set out of his own body parts. So I imagine it meant he also collected, you know, used tissues, toenails, that sort of thing.
My biggest guilty pleasure is watching the cycle of university freshers. So a few months ago, it was like, love my flatmates, making videos together. And then like now, all I see on my For You page is, my flatmate used all of my pans and molded them up over...
Horrible flatmate has finally left the building a week ago today. And this has been the best week of the year, hands down. For context, horrible flatmate moved in last November, so she hasn't lived with me for a really long time, but long enough to make my life a living hell. She replaced my friend who I had been living with for a couple of years, but my friend moved back home to Australia because cost of living, and I found horrible flatmate through Spare Room, and I thought she was going to be a great fit, but clearly she was not.
So my flatmates went home this weekend, and this is the state the kitchen was in after a 10-week term. I started off with disinfecting the bin with Zaflora and then some like sprayed disinfectant on the outside, and then I removed all of the sponges and Dishmatics from around the sink to reveal this. I started by just using kitchen roll to get rid of all of this stuff. It was really wet as well, so It was just so grim, I had to wear gloves for it. The sink itself was really stained, and I saw on Facebook that Cif Cream is really good for the stains, so I really got into it with a scrub mummy, and most of the stains did come out. Then I removed all of the sponges off the Dishmatics because they really smelled of like mildew, and then I wiped the table down. Moved all the appliances onto the table so I could scrub down the counter using the Cif Cream. Once I had done the countertops, moved on to the hobs. I used the pink stuff for this. One of my flatmates likes to cook with a lot of oil and it splatters grease everywhere, and the pink stuff does a really good job of getting this all off, so I gave that a good scrub. Then I did the air vents above the ovens, and I had to go over the hobs a second time with the Cif Cream, and the back wall as well was also really splattered with grease. Next I did the appliances and then moved on to the wall behind the bin. Someone needs to learn how to aim when putting things in the bin, is all I'm going to say. Then I vacuumed the floor and scrubbed the floor around the bin, which was also grim, and then I mopped the floor, and here's what we have.